Breakdown. Today we are doing days 33 and 34, where we are here to talk about chapters negative 103 through 328 of Bleach, which Lawrence has read for the first time. Lawrence, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Another supersized edition of the podcast or whatever stream, whatever you want to call this thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Exciting times from now on. You're not going to have to deal with even numbers. You're going to get to read chapters 9 through 8 every day from now on. You're welcome.
Not great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Flashback.
Yep. So let's start things off with a recap of where we last were, which is that we had turned back the pendulum at first to 110 years before the start of the series, and then a little bit closer to that to just 100 years. This was back in Soul Society when Shinji was still a captain. Aizen was his vice captain. We're seeing Urahara promoted to captain of 12th Division. He founds the research and laboratory division there. And from that point on, a suspicious thing has occurred, and Kensei is sent out to investigate. He defeats a Hollow, rescues a young Hisagi, and Nashiro, his vice captain, finds some Shinigami clothes in the bushes, and that's where we last left off.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start things off with the poem for volume 35. Volume 36. Turn back the pendulum. It's a one-liner, and it is, "It's still too early to believe."
It's still too early.
It's still too early to believe.
It's pretty good. What do you think?
I like it. I think it's pretty fitting for the overall. I know that Turn Back the Pendulum isn't fully encapsulated in this volume, but I think it's a pretty good poem, a little line for the entirety of the Turn Back the Pendulum flashback.
Like, what do you think they're referring to? Is it's still too early to like believe in what believe in what? Like, what do you think they're going for there? He's going for there
to believe. I think it's to believe what happened.
Oh, okay. Like, as in, like
the process,
the overall. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
All
right. So, what did you think here of? So they are. They find the Shinigami robes in the bushes. They declare it's an emergency. I was a little ahead of myself last time. We met and did this where you don't see the 69 tattoo that Hisagi adopts on his face later on until the first chapter we're covering here.
Gotcha.
They decide that they're going to camp out for the night, see if anything suspicious happens, and it does, because the Kensei and his team are attacked. What did you think of the this mysterious attack in the night?
Yeah, I mean, the obviously concerning. Figured it ultimately had to do with what the previous like mysterious goings on throughout the Soul Society. It probably had something to do with that, and I figured with them being like some of the core characters of the Visitors like being involved in that situation, I figured this is like a trigger event for like what's going to like overall like turn the tides in terms of like what we eventually end up with in the current day.
Yeah. So Kensei and his troops are attacked. They sense that their spirit presence has diminished from within Soul Society. It's an emergency is declared. Some people are sent out to investigate. Initially, this is where we the 5 people sent do not include Urahara, who volunteers to go after he realizes that Hiyori is potentially in danger.
Right.
Rose, Love, Shinji are the first 3 sent, with the goal to have Tessai and Hachi sent as backup, with Yuriichi on standby for support. What did you think of the meeting Tessai and Hachi for the first time? Were you expecting to see Tessai here?
Jog my memory on which one's Tessai.
Tessai's the man with the glasses who
Lad with
is
the glasses.
Urahara's shopkeeper now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, that does. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't shocked that he was gonna be like somehow like involved with this because obviously like he's someone that like clearly had like soul like related abilities and it there had to be an explanation as to like how he like got up to earth with Urahara, so it would make sense that if every other character is like being away from the soul side is related seems to be related to like the same event, it kind of would
Yeah.
kind of link up that he was
I think
involved.
the bigger reveal here is that Tessai is a top dog and the
Yeah,
leader of
that's
the Keto
definitely the
Corps.
bigger reveal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Hachi as his lieutenant there. So that was a pretty interesting reveal where we really know next to nothing about Tessai before this moment.
Yeah. I'm like I knew so little about him that I forgot that that was the same character.
Yeah.
I knew I had seen him before, but I was like, where did I see that guy before? Is he a wizard? And I just like wasn't paying attention and
Mhm.
missed one of the wizards. I was like, and then I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's that dude.
During this, they say that I forget who it is that speaks up. I think it's Shunsui who speaks up and says, "Hey, we shouldn't send both of them. I'll have Lisa go instead." And Lisa shows up. So Lisa's revealed to be Shunsui's former
Yeah.
vice captain before Nano, and so Tessai hangs back. Hachi goes with Lisa in his place. What did you think with once they arrived, the fight with the hollowified Shinigami Kensei to start with?
I mean, yeah, my thoughts were pretty much just like, oh, here we go. We're seeing the beginnings of the whole them becoming hollified and obviously like that he survives this ultimately because he's alive in the current day stuff. So I wasn't like concerned about anyone dying or anything, but it definitely like felt like, oh, here we go. This is where it starts.
Yeah, so they have their fight. They're not prepared for the strength of Kensei here.
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelming strength in his hollowified form, and things go from bad to worse when when Masagi is revealed to have hollowified as well and joins the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, once Hachi arrives, they seem to turn the tide a little, but they are maybe going to be able to fight back after Hiyori begins to transform and attack Shinji. They're trying to recover and get their bearings again, but everything goes dark. They don't know what happens, and they find that they are slashed. And when the darkness subsides, we see Tosin. What did you think of the Tosin reveal? Did you realize that was him the entire time?
I wasn't honestly even thinking about that, but like I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. I mean, that the most hypocritical motherfucker to ever exist, Tosin, is out here, doing Aizen's evil bidding, even back to this day, this distant 100 years, 100, I guess now 101 years in the past, he was still Aizen's puppet. But yeah, Tosin's here. Tosin's here to be a dickhead.
Yeah,
Not to be shocking.
I think Kubo does a good job here. I know a lot of people suspected it by this point when it was going weekly, but he does a pretty good job hiding here of having Tosin be the only person Kensei never calls by name from his group, and just because he's wearing the he has a different look, you don't necessarily immediately know it's him, but it was him all along. And when Tosin reveals his betrayal, that's when someone else does. Aizen shows up, and Shinji goes, "I knew it." And Aizen goes, "Well, did you know that the person walking behind you wasn't me for the past month or so, pretty much? No, for the past week."
Yeah.
What did you think of this?
Again, I'm tired of like Aizen just getting away with it because it's like his Zankabuto has like this like stupid OP ass power that like just makes people like see like mirages and shit.
Under the impression that Aizen isn't the hero of the series?
I don't know. It's not called. Well, I guess it's called Bleach. So it could be Aizen's series. I was about to say, well, it's not called Aizen, but it's not called Ichigo either. So
Yeah.
who knows? But yeah, of course he has his like OP little fucking make people see like a dreamscape power or whatever, and I don't know, man. Like, so like why would they like why would they suddenly be like, oh, Shinji just has this like weird dude like following him for like a week, that like no one's like gonna like ask Shinji like, hey, what's up with this fucking dude that I've never seen before just like following you around? Where's Aizen, your vice captain? Like that's the dude that should be like standing next to you like right now. I don't know, like it's like how is no one like address this dude by name or something, like, you know, I don't
Well,
know.
because everyone's under hypnosis.
So everyone thinks, okay, so everyone thinks that this dude is Aizen.
Hmm.
Everyone's seeing is like, okay, this guy's Aizen.
Yeah. And the only reason Shinji couldn't tell is because he was so suspicious of Aizen, he held him at a distance, which
So does this
Aizen
mean,
reveals it was his plan all along. He didn't choose Aizen. Shinji didn't choose Aizen. Aizen chose Shinji.
so does that mean he has like more followers embedded within the Soul Society? Because
No, I
this
think the
dude
idea is
has,
that he hypnotizes the person. He puts that person under hypnosis and then puts everybody else under hypnosis to think that he's Aizen.
all right, like, I guess, like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
it's like a like, I mean, this like it's a lot. That's a lot. Like it's a lot. But yeah, you know, there had to be some sort of explanation as to, you know, how Eisen was able to get away with this treachery, and I guess it fits in the confines of like the reality. But I don't know, like that just seems like so OP of a thing to have. Like you could just like,
That's why he's a primary antagonist. I can't. Why don't you understand this?
I do, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just
You know, if he's not a big threat, if he's not overpowered, if he's not scary, like, what's the point? Why are you supposed to fear him?
I guess, I don't know. Yeah.
Your complaint right now is that this person is too powerful for being a villain. Well, what do you want?
Look,
You want him to be weak? You want him to?
no.
Yeah.
No, no, it's just no. I mean, no, not. That's my problem. Is that not that he's too powerful? Is that this is just like such a like a convoluted like way for him to like pull off this plan.
That's his entire thing. He's a master plan, and the only person he's supposed to be able to rival him is Urahara.
Yeah, I guess. All
So,
right.
you know, Urahara arrives and goes, "Hey, why are you lying? You didn't find them like this. They're not
Yeah.
injured. They're hollow-fied." And Aizen says, "I should have, you know, as I expected. I
Okay.
expected you to expect this."
You know what? Okay, I think my problem with it is like not at this time, but like the way that like everyone is just like, you know what? I believe Aizen Urahara is a piece of shit. Like fuck him. He was like doing all this stuff the whole time, rather than like truly investigate this, because like I don't
Well,
know, like I
because
feel
they're under hypnosis.
like how deep is
It's
this hypnosis
hypnosis.
though? Like how deep is this hypnosis? Like
I believe it's literally called total hypnosis. So,
so like, but okay, so they're hypnotized to the point that even if Urahara is like what, check this man's like Zakuba his powers, like I don't know it,
well, the key thing is that people don't know that Aizen doesn't let people know the ability of his Zanpakuto until it's too late.
but they're like not, but for such like an egregious like crime,
Because
and there was this accusation out there, like why not even like investigate it at least? Like I mean, like because you're just completely like disrespecting, like disregarding Urahara. Like you gave him this power as a captain, like you clearly had some level of trust in him. Like why not?
preposterous.
Huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's because everybody saw Aizen. About
But yeah, but if he told them what his power is, and then they could like during the investigation to be like, okay, this is the power that Urahara says that you have, and
well,
like if you
even
have
if they
the
did
power,
do that, he would just use hypnosis, and they'd be like, "Oh, look, he has a water-based Zanpakuto." Like his entire thing was that in when the Soul Society was invaded by Ichigo and his friends, all the vice captains thought he had a water-based Zanpakuto because he demonstrated it to them.
I guess I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just hate like powers like this. Is this like so?
Don't worry, because
It's
he's
like Superman. It's like that's why like
he's
Superman's not one of my favorite heroes because it's like his power is just so OP that you're kind of just like, well, he's Superman. He'll be able to get around this one. Like it's just like you know, like I like if he was like a mastermind and his like power wasn't so OP that like you wouldn't really have to be like a huge mastermind to like just erase people's memories because you have this like OP power. It'd be like I don't
well, sorry, he's a mastermind and he's tough as shit. Deal with it.
know. All right.
So Urahara is framed by Aizen, and Tessai takes the fall as well. Yuriichi arrives to help whisk them away, hide them, and Urahara completes the gig eyes. We then end the flashback. The Wizards are gearing up for battle.
Yeah. I was hype about that for sure. Yeah, I like that. I really like. I like the aspect of this. I like this. I really liked like kind of the reveal of like how they became like the visitors and whatever in the way that Urahara like planned out this escape. Well, with the help of Yoriichi, kind of like like preemptively knowing like your heart probably like has some sort of like funk like thing in the back of his mind that this is like that she's gonna save him, and then they're gonna find out some sort of like way using gig eyes and his like impressive like scientific and research abilities, and and giving themselves 100 years to eventually like craft some sort of catch-all plan to catch Aizen in with his pants down. And yeah, and I really like that scene at the right before the visitors roll out where Shinji's like, we really owe Urahara for saving us, but we also owe Aizen too. But like that was a great moment for sure. So I'm definitely excited to see that first like reintroduction between Shinji and the visitors with Aizen, Tosin, and well, less so Jin, because Jin was like too young to really have that much of a connection personally with these guys.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed the turn back the pendulum while it was happening on week-to-week basis. Like, I remember, it started at negative 108, so I thought to myself that, everybody was thinking it was going to end at 100, and then 100 finished and it wasn't resolved, and people were just like, what the fuck? Like, this is a further troll. Pretty. I had to applaud the boldness of starting something at negative 108 and just saying it ends at negative.
Yeah. The random numbers are just like like why pick these numbers? But I don't I like the audacity for sure though. But yeah, I really like the turn back the pendulum, even though I was like giving like the whole Aizen like theory and all the stuff that he's doing kind of a hard time in terms of his plan and all that. I enjoyed it. It was definitely some fun reading. So probably my favorite set of chapters so far.
So yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. It was great to get this really out of nowhere at the time, because there was no telling that this was about to happen. We just bam, all of a sudden, we're going to take a little flashback. And it comes right as we're about to get this big clash down of all the Aizen top espadas and the Shinigami.
Yeah.
Flashback ends and we go back to that, but don't worry.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the top dogs fighting out. You have to watch the lieutenants first. Sorry.
Yeah.
What did you think about the revelation that there would be these pillar defense going on?
My thought was pretty much like, here's the warm up before we get to the big dogs, finding it out, and then as soon as they said 4 pillars, and I was like, okay, they're definitely not sending any captains out on these joints. They're trying to reserve their strongest forces for the Jins and the Aizens and the Tosins and then the other espadas of the world. So they're gonna send out Ikaku. They're gonna send out Hisagi 6ix9ine. They're gonna send out Izuru and the dude whose name I always forget.
Kaku? Oh, you mean Chika?
Chika, yeah.
Yeah, so we get these four.
Yeah.
You, this is where yesterday ends. This is where day 32 ends of the breakdown, and we're going to jump into
Hmm.
33 now. Luckily we took care of all of this in day 34, but yeah, this to get through all of the vice captain fights in the live setting took like 3 months,
Oh God.
and it was just a drag because they're pretty repetitive. Like reading them all 10 at once, like you did, is a much easier way than to have done it like as it happened.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
like, where do you want to start with this?
yeah, so well, we'll start in the same place we always do, with the poem for volume 36, which I actually just realized I need to pull up or volume 37, which I need to pull up the image for. Okay, we're going to start with the poem for volume 37, which is Beauty is So Solitary. So the poem for Beauty is So Solitary goes like this. People cannot be thought to define beauty. However, flowers can be thought to define beauty. A person's form resembles a flower only at the time of defeat, when it is torn to pieces.
Yeah, I mean, definitely feel like that's like definitely from the Yumi Chika's perspective for sure.
Hey,
And
you
then
remembered his name.
yeah, I got it this time. I actually
Proud
Googled.
of you, brother.
Yeah, I Googled as soon as I figured the poem was gonna be from his point of view. Yeah, obviously he's got the cover. A guy that's so loving of the way he looks and his appearance is probably happy about that. So good for him, and got the poem based after him. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Definitely taking the W's.
So, what did you think of the Arankar, without really diving into the fights first, what did you think of the Arankar matchups at least? Just, seeing that we would get, because we get a little brief glimpse of them the Arankar arriving to fight their enemies in the
And the
Shikigami.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Yumichika and Ikaku they seem pretty like accurate in terms of like who they would probably fight. That obviously you
Mm-hmm.
had Ikaku's who's just like a huge like behemoth, and he seems somewhat like someone who would relish like the fight
Mm-hmm.
someone bigger than him, so that made sense. And then with Yumichika, you had a fellow kind of you know it, I don't know how to describe it. Like I guess kind of into appearance and into kind in extravagance and kind of like in dressing nicely or whatever. So I was like, okay, I can see that.
Well, I guess I skipped a little bit here.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, yeah, I did skip something from yesterday. What did you think, real quick, when it happened of Ichigo racing to confront Ulquiorra? This filler to remind us that this is what Ichigo and friends are up to.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes sense. Like what else are they just gonna sit on their asses like
Mm-hmm.
and just like be like, oh, let's just let the world either end or be saved, and then we'll deal with the consequences. Like, no, Ichigo's gonna fight. That's what he does. So
Mm-hmm.
not shocking to me. Obviously, Orihime's been captured. You know, of course, like yeah, he's a shonen protagonist. He's not one to wait.
Yeah, it's. I don't care for the two chapters after I forgot about them. Is they're just filler.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
remind us.
really, really, like, yeah, they didn't. You could have just like told the story and then just cut back to Ichigo like facing down Okiora, and just like you didn't need that the subtext of like e- of him like being like spurred on or anything. Like, obviously he was gonna go fight.
Yeah. So we'll dive into things with the Yumachika fight against Charlotte Coolhorn. I think this is the best of them all, to be honest. Because it's the funniest, and it's still a pretty decent fight.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely my favorite of the bunch.
What did you think of this? And what did you think of this man, Charlotte Coolhorn?
Yeah.
A specimen if there ever is one.
Yeah, definitely, definitely a very colorful figure, of course. The bulge is just like alarming, like, like, but anyway,
He's
uh,
packed in heat.
antagonist. Yeah, but anyway,
And
I
cards
like,
have dicks too.
yeah, our cards with dicks too. Yeah, I like, yeah, it was a fun fight. Like I liked how like Yumachika kind of like reacting like to all the like the foolishness being thrown his way.
Mhm.
Um, and they had some fun banner back and forth between each other. My favorite part of it is probably like the apex of it, where finally his he was in the release date, and there was enough cover where Yumachika could release his like all
His
powerful
Shikai.
Bankai
Now it's a
Shigai
Shikai. Yeah.
Shigai, and and turn the tables. And I like how it kind of ended on a note of like mutual respect a little bit, in terms of like uh as the Arankar was like, passing out or dying, he was like, "Oh, what a magnificent like fellow!" Kind of. He was like, "Damn,
Yeah.
like damn." It
Even
was,
though she's like, beautiful after all.
yeah,
I finally get it. Yeah, really, really fun fight. Really funny.
yeah,
Everything, all the other fights pale in comparison.
yeah,
Because Coolhorn's a great character, and he and Yumachika have great banter with
yeah.
one another.
I think I'll say there were aspects of the Azuru fight that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
mean, the more,
let me just wrap up with
yeah,
Yumachika real quick.
yeah,
Yeah, similar to Ikaku, who has this thing about not wanting to reveal his Bankai, Imachika has his thing about not wanting to reveal his Shikai.
yeah.
Be-
Yeah, yeah, and it makes sense, in terms of like that's just the philosophy of the 11th division. So, and then I think that element of like of the whole like 11th division and like their beliefs in terms of that. I also liked how that was explored with the Yakaku fight towards the end. But I will agree with like most of the like central moments of the rest of them like don't even hold the candle to this or anything that's happened throughout this arc.
yeah. So you said you liked the elements of the Kira fight. Tell me about that. I don't have a picture for that. So just
I liked it in terms of not necessarily the like the fight itself. I mean that was like somewhat interesting, like his power of like cutting it. Well, we already got it. Like you double in the weight and you're like hung down. I mean I liked his explanation of like why like he likes the power of his like Zankupo because it kind of like it is a reflection of like his division's like belief in like fights and battles in terms of like they weigh you down like they're just supposed to be things that like are dark and fierce and grisly because like you don't want to relish like the fight. You want to try to like get out of it as quick as possible and kind of like save your like your mentality and your kind of vitality and you're kind of like sacrificing a piece of yourself like through doing like such like
yeah,
a fierce and cruel act. So I like that aspect of it, and I like the aspect of him reacting so like negatively to Jin's name being kind of invoked in terms of in terms of like the fact that he was his former captain and how they cut the Jin and he was had this like kind of look on his face and toast and it was like are you feeling some type of way about your like former vice captain, and he was pretty much like saying like no, I'm happy, like I've never seen him, so I didn't expect him to react in such a way, so I kind of like that kind of whole dynamic there too in terms of
yeah,
the yeah, but the fight itself wasn't really that
yeah.
interesting.
I agree. I didn't care for the fight itself, and only at the very end when Ikiri gets or when Kira gets to be cool and says, "Yeah, despair. You're supposed to feel bad in a fight," and then he reveals what his the shape of his blade is for. What did you think of
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that was cool. Yeah,
Literally
yeah,
beheads his opponent.
yeah, the beheads his opponent. Yeah, exactly. So, and I like that like he has that mentality about him, and I feel like a lot of these other like Soul Reapers and like Ichigo, like, are only willing to like take these like kind of like half measures in terms of these fights. Like, Ichigo, like he
Mhm.
pretty much not like never offs an opponent. He's always like, like I want you to like heal and get stronger, and then we'll fight again or something. There's like some sort of like weird mentality there with him. I know he's like the shonen protagonist, so he probably has to have some sort of thing like that. But I like how with like Izuru, he's kind of like, like this is supposed to be kind of like a fucked up thing. Like this is a battle, and me ending you is like is the end to the despair. I kind of like that mentality that he has about the fight. He doesn't relish killing his opponent, but he realizes that he kind of has to. Like these are Arankars. They're trying to like destroy a whole town.
Mhm.
There's weight into these fights, into these decisions, and I like that he has that mentality.
Yeah. Moving on to the Hasagi fights. Yeah, this is where things really started to drag for me, to be honest, because
Yeah, I agree.
repetitive.
Yeah.
What did you think of Hasagi's fight?
Like the only enjoyable part of it is like now that I've realized I can call him Hisaki 6'9". That's like the only thing I was like
I like that.
the blicky with the sticky but yeah, that was pretty much all that I was like, oh man, that's gonna be a fun nickname to reveal on the on the stream, the recap. But yeah, no, it was yeah, nothing here really for me. I
Kuwa and Sasagi wish he were more important in the series.
Yeah, I like. What did you think of the whole like Espada, the not Espada, the whole Arankara's ability being like, I can change my power to fight like however the ability, blah
Who
blah blah.
fucking cares?
Yeah,
It was just filler. It's cannon fodder shit. It's irrelevant.
is he like? Does he become more important later? Is this just like kind of like what his role is? Like,
No,
should
I
this
said
be like?
this is the most important he is in the main series. There is, I believe, some canon novels that Kubo wrote after the series ended that take
Mhm.
place from Hasagi's viewpoint. But in
I
the
wonder
main
what I want to
series
read that.
itself, that's all that happens.
Yeah, yeah, not my favorite. I
I think he's kind of cool. It's just he doesn't ever get much to do in the series. This is
I
like
mean, like,
high difference exposure.
yeah, I mean, I found it interesting how, whereas you got to see more.
No, I take that back. He does have one other fight coming up.
I find it interesting how, like, from like there during the Zuru fight, you kind of got more like of his relationship, but with him and Jin, and like how he like feels like, oh, like, he still feels like some sort of like weird kind of thing there that like spurs him on the fight. But with Hisagi, it's kind of just like Tosin's here. I don't really give a fuck. Like there's no mention about like
Yeah.
his captain, his former captain is like mere like 100 feet away, just like looking on, and he's I thought there would be more commentary from that. And
So after Hisagi finishes his fight, um, they notice that one of the pillars has been destroyed, and it's because Akaku has lost. He has refused to pull out his Bankai, and he gets clapped by his opponent.
yeah,
What did you think of Komamura's fight with his opponent?
um, he did his whole Bankai release. I didn't really care for this fight too much,
Yeah,
honestly.
it's
I mean,
another fucking irrelevant one.
yeah, like the only aspect I liked about this encounter was when Ikaku was getting scolded by
Diva, yeah.
but yeah, about like dude, like you can have your like morals and your like way of the sword and like how you want to fight when it's just like up to your honor and up to like something more minor, but like when you're fighting on the line for like your comrades and for like a whole town and for like like the Soul Reaper's like existence as a whole, which is what Aiz is trying to destroy. Like to just get hung up on your petty, I don't want to use my Bankai because I'll dishonor the 11th Division and Kenpachi, and they're all gonna make fun of me. Like this is ridiculous. So I'm happy that he was finally getting like a little bit of like fucking like truth serum put in his like face at
I,
least, you know.
I really love that here we're meant to appreciate what Aiba's saying and see how foolish Ikaku is being when Yumachika literally just did the exact same thing, except
I do agree with that. I do agree with that
he
too.
had the privilege of getting able to actually
Hey,
win the fight.
but he pulled it off though.
Ace
That's
quality writing from Kubo here.
He pulled it off though. No, but see, but that's what the point he was making though. Like you can do that shit if you can walk the walk, but Ikaku couldn't walk the walk. That's what he was saying. Like if you're gonna like try to pull this shit, then you need to get stronger so that you can actually pull this shit. Like I'm fine if he wants to do that if he's like gonna win, but if you're like literally on death's door and you have an ace in the hole and you're not pulling out that ace, like that, like what the fuck are you doing? You know?
Yeah. So Komamura finishes fight, and then we pretty much end things for the day with the rest of the forces of the Shinigami scurrying off with the remaining Espada. So the breakdown here is we have Shunsui and Yukitake again. This is not going to help. So Shunsui and Yukitake against Stark, Rengiku and Rengiku and Hitsugaya against Hannibal and her subordinates, Soifong against Barragan, and Yamamoto is just gonna chill and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts, expectations, hopes, dreams, prayers?
I mean, I'm pretty hype about honestly all of these like fights and separately. Yeah. So you know, definitely some. I like the way they were all split up, especially you know you could see some Shinsui, Yukitake, you know, action. That's probably the one I'm most excited for, and of course you know, see the number one ranked Bleach character Hatsugaya with
everyone's
Rengiku.
favorite.
Everyone's favorite with Rengiku. I forgot where she was in the rankings, but yeah. So you know, and then of course, so fun. I'm yeah excited to see you know more of her, I guess. And who's the top? The other one, and I can't see because they're showing his back.
Where?
In the Soifun panel.
Oh, that's just that's her vice captain up top.
Oh, okay. So I don't care.
I mean, that's his front, but yeah,
that's his front.
Oh. Yeah, that's Amada.
Okay, well, I don't care about him. Yeah, I guess that's the one I'm least excited about because I really only care about like half of that battle.
Yeah, I just keep messing my nail by accident. Yeah, so tomorrow you are going to be finishing Volume 38, Fear for Fight. You're pretty much mostly done with it, and you'll, I think, almost entirely complete Volume 39. Which is, El Verdugo.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, definitely, you know, I guess if I was to sum up these 20 chapters, I mean, obviously, like, I think, you know, it wasn't as good as the last 20 that we did. Clearly, just based on, like, our recap time, like, the last one was, like, a 50-something minute recap. This was, like, a 38-something minute recap. I think the last 10 here kind of weighted down of these 20. But, there was, you know, there was some fun moments here and there to talk about and discuss. So I mean, you know, I'm not too down. I don't think it really brought down the arc as a whole. You know, it's just like, you know, it's just like you're gonna have like you know a bum 10 chapters every once in a while. You know.
Yeah. For the next 10, there's some cool stuff that goes on, but it's still a little bit more introductory because they're not necessarily going to be fighting the main hollows, the main top 3 Espada. They're going to be still getting rid of their subordinates first. I'm just going to let you know that.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah. You know, but yeah.
My laptop.
What I really want, like,
doing this.
Huh? What were you gonna say?
Overheating, so this is why I'm suddenly holding it.
Yeah, but you know, if I'm like what I'm waiting for, like what I want to happen is like I'm ready for the visitors to join the game. Like I just really want that moment of Shinji and Aizen locking eyes and you know having that like kind of like that oh shit moment.
It's gonna happen. It's pretty good when it does.
And so is it implied that everyone thinks that the Visitors are like. So does everyone know who the Visitors are? Do they know Shinji is still alive and running this with the rest of them, or is this going to be like a surprise for everyone? Like even the Soul, like
No, there are some younger people technically who don't know who the Visitors are.
right, like, but does Shinsui like know that his former vice captain is a Visitor?
Yeah, I believe so.
Have we gotten a moment where like where we had like the captains? Well, we haven't really gotten like a moment where we gotten like confirmation that they know like that they're alive. You know,
You'll get there.
you'll get there.
Yeah.
I mean, because I would kind of like to see like more like of like that as well. That would be interesting to see like how, yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, definitely excited for them to join the fray.
Big time.
Does Aizen know that they're a thing?
Yeah, Aizen knows everything, remember?
Oh yeah, you're true. That's probably right. The all powerful, all. I mean, but why is he? I just don't get like how he's so confident if he knows like they have these like
Because he's
8
strong.
individuals with hollow
Because
holification
they're not a threat.
abilities.
Because they're not a threat to him.
All right. Okay, Aizen. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. See ya.